This is Maginone, and welcome to another edition of The Good, The Bad, The Disappointing. Let's start off with the good. Ultimate Spider-Man number 28. The reason why I'm saying this was the good was because this really was a really solid way of tying up the No More, like Spider-Man No More story, and it also really is ignoring the fact that Cataclysm is coming. Like with the Ultimates, it was just a mess, and they keep trying to push themselves into this bigger monstrosity of a story that doesn't really make a lot of sense. But the Ultimate Spider-Man has just stayed the course and just tried to tell a good story. And even in the face of possible extinction, they don't care, and they're actually leaving it like right before Cataclysm as like hope for the future by dropping lots of plot points about Miles' dad, maybe the recruitment of other heroes, forming a Spider-Man and his amazing friends type team. And then these heroes really worked well together. Overall, this has just been an enjoyment to read. The art was really good, and I think the page where they drew Miles as he finally accepts that he's Spider-Man was really good, and in fact, it made him look even older than what he normally should be. And this was really, really good. Bendis did a fantastic job, and overall, I'm really pleased with it. And I no matter what happens, I just hope this continues in one form or another. Okay, the bad. The bad is Nova number 9, and I gotta tell you, this is just a jumbled mess of like what the hell happened to continuity type thing, and you can tell they just threw stuff in here just so this way they could tie it into Infinity. First of all, let's look at Vance and Speedball. Now, these two characters are old. They can drive legally, but now suddenly they're reduced to like we can't drive, and they're kids. And I'm like, what happened? Did they get hit by the shrink ray or something? It's like I understand. Sam's a younger high school kid, but you're distorting what's really like characters. You've already distorted Penance, Speedball as Penance, and the fact of how you're going to tie that in when he's a kid. It doesn't, like, if anybody were to read those Thunderbolt issues, it's not going to make any sense. So that's part one. Part two is, well, this battle here was just a mess. It wasn't really entertaining. It wasn't even good. It just ended because they needed to get it done. And, granted, they're trying to say, well, we're going to give Nova his first supervillain, once she eventually gets out of her eternal torture for failure. But even then, I'm not really that thrilled with the character. It really did absolutely nothing for me. And then I'm kind of going, well, let me get this straight. All these other characters under Thanos fail right and left, and a lot of times nothing ever happens to them. But this one person, because she couldn't kick Nova's ass, is going to get the eternal pain. Also don't get me wrong, I do know that one guy who screwed up and Thanos just kicked his ass. But I'm just like, nothing bad is going to happen to these other characters. And it's just like, really? I don't know, I just hope that this thing just picks up again, because this has been a pleasure to read. And I think, if anything, this is getting bogged down by having to tie itself into Infinity, and then at the same time distorting history of some of his supporting cast. And finally, the disappointing is The Hunt. Now, the thing is, The Hunt, story-wise, there's actually something really interesting that's going down here. And the problem is, it's disappointing because the art is so bad that it's not going to get any attention. Now, this is what I mean by this is actually onto something here. In theory, if Marvel played their cards right, all of these characters that are in The Hunt, these are all future, top tier characters. Now, I understand that not all of them are going to make it to the top tier. And most of them will probably end up in the BC range. But what they're doing is they're establishing a next generation of heroes. And I applaud that. I also applaud the fact that you don't see Captain America Jr., you don't see Spider-Man Jr., you don't see Wonder Woman Girl or Canary Boy, or, you know, Boy with Arrows, Robin Hood, or something like that. A lot of these characters are very unique. They have their own skill sets, their own powers, and they're all coming from different places. So this way, you're getting a nice mixture of personality and agendas. So I really appreciate that. But when you have really crappy artwork, that's not helping your cause because nobody's going to buy it. Because I have to tell you this much: this battle could have been spectacular, but it's just kind of like mediocre when you look at the horrible faces, the panels, the bendable rubbery arms that are bending like the wrong way, kind of like, you know, it's things like that that just make you go, eh, and it just can't get you wrapped into the story, and that's why this is a real disappointment. Um, I just wish they got a better illustrator, and I think this would definitely, for sure, would be a book that I'd really support wholeheartedly. Anyways, that's my good, bad, disappointing. Let me know what your good, bad, disappointing is. Leave your comments below. I didn't put any DC books into this because I really wanted to talk about them in different ways other than calling it a good, the bad, or the disappointing, because there actually was some decent parts to the DC books that I got. Anyways, if you have any comments or questions, let me know. Rate the video, like the Facebook link, the Crunchyroll anime reviews, and I'll have more reviews later. So until next time.